Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm just coming at you from Madrid. I figured I'd do a quick little overview of what I think about this. This is the Harley Benton TE-30 Telecaster copy. Doesn't want to zoom in on that. There we go. So I've had this guitar for about a week and a half now, and I just wanted to go over some of the good, the bad, the ugly, the etc. about this guitar. I'm not going to be doing a sound demo, so if you're here for that, check out another video. I just wanted to share my my own experiences with this thing, and I don't have a setup here that will do it justice because all my stuff is in the US and I have no mics. All I have is a Roland Cube, micro cube, which sounds okay, but it's just not going to do it justice, like I said. I'd rather run it through some tubes and give you something, you know, what it could sound like at its best, you know, at optimal. Alright, so as far as specs go, I don't know, it feels like a Telecaster. I will say it's heavy as all hell. This body is pretty solid. The neck is not as solid, but you can feel the heft with this body. Alright, so it's a 3-piece ash body. I do know that just from looking at it. See right here, there's this little fill. It's like a flaw in the body, but it cuts off kind of abruptly right here. Geez, that's real tough to see. But there's like a little speck right there that's just cut in half. And there's no way I'm gonna be able to get that to focus on here because of the lights in the background. But yeah, it ends right there. So there's one piece right here, another piece right here in the middle, and then the other piece is actually lined up really well, and I had trouble seeing it the first time I looked for it, but I think it is, I can't even see it, but it's a 3-piece. I found it before, but it's matched pretty well besides that one piece in the back. It's pretty stripy looking and kind of crazy grain. It's not really maybe the best piece of ash that's ever been found, but it's pretty solidly built. And as far as like a mod platform, this is actually, I think, a fairly nice body to, you know, jam some new stuff into and see what shakes out. You know, 89 euros just for a decent body and, you know, a scratch plate, I guess. This could probably stay too. Some of this hardware could stay too. It's not horrible. All right, so let's get into the neck because that's where I've had the most issues. Like I said, I've had this guitar for a week, maybe a week and a half, and you can see how dirty that fretboard is. They did not finish the neck, at least not to any real high standard. I mean, the back maybe has a very, very light satin finish, if that. There are also 2 dings in the neck back here, one right here and one right here. Those are not for me. They arrived like that. So just that's another cosmetic issue with this guitar. The fret ends when I got this guitar were atrocious, like cut your fingers off atrocious. The neck pocket on this guitar I think is super interesting. I think that's a fairly shallow neck pocket. Now, I've never built a Tele, I've never owned a Tele. I couldn't tell you if that's actually a really shallow neck pocket or if it just seems like it's wrong for me. But if I wanted to swap out this neck for like a Squire Tele neck or something, I don't know that I could. I think I'd have to route out this neck pocket a little bit. For this jack right here, there's like a pretty big gap, and that's actually going to be pretty easy to fix. What I'm going to do is take it off and bend it so it's a little bit more flat, and it'll be a lot more flush, but that's just, I don't know, it could be done a lot better. A little bit more attention to detail. I have not put a strap on this. The strap pegs seem alright. I mean, that's like a super cheap part. I would hope so. Bridge, typical uncompensated Tele bridge. Time will tell if these pieces here to adjust the height, if they wiggle up a little bit or wiggle down. Threads didn't seem super promising, but we'll see. The intonation came okay. I couldn't have expected a whole lot better. I had to intonate it myself, but that's just par for the course with guitars that get shipped. You know, I don't know how well they set it up at the store before they sent it to me, but it was okay when it arrived, not great. The tuners hold okay. They're unbranded, you know, Chinese pop metal tuners. Sorry, I don't have like I said, I have nothing here. I don't have a string cutter. But yeah, they're okay. I found that they stay in tune fairly well. I will say I did break a string, which is super rare for me. I'm not like a crazy bender. I'm not like a crazy. I don't play wicked hard. But I broke the high E string twice. The first time it was probably because I was playing with the stock strings that came with this, which were probably the cheapest strings that were available to the company to throw on here. So I think what happened is the winds down here just unwound and just pulled the ball end right out and everything. The tone pot is okay. The volume pot, however, if you go from 0 to like 1 or 2, you're getting like all of the volume throw, and anything past that, you're pretty much staying in the same spot. I mean, you'll get like a marginal increase in volume from like 2 to 8 or 2 to 10, but for the most part, it's like 0 on for like a negligible amount of movement. Pickups, there's not a whole lot to say. They sound kind of Telecaster-y, but they're, cheap. Probably would be the first thing I would pull out, and probably the second thing I would do after refinishing the neck. I think all this dirt on the neck, I didn't play with particularly grimy hands. I come home from work or what have you, and I ride the Metro, and I'm like, first thing I do is wash my hands. So all I can say is it's probably from the oxidization, I think that's the word, of the metal, of the cheap strings that came on it. But I've never seen anything quite that drastic in such a little amount of time. I've probably played this guitar in total 15 hours maybe, and I've never had a guitar wear like that. So, I mean, you can get Telecaster sounds out of it. Like I said, I haven't run it through a tube amp, so I don't know exactly how great or horrible it will sound through a tube amp. But, it's for what it cost, it's okay. I think there could have been more attention to detail and more final, give it a final once-over, maybe hit it with some more sandpaper on the edges, or on the fret edges, rather. This nut is absolute garbage. I'm going to pull that out and throw in a tusk, or maybe a bone nut in there. I actually elected to pay for it in US dollars, so I used their conversion rate, and I think in total I paid $122 US shipped to me in Spain from their factory in Germany, or their warehouse rather, what have you. Yeah, and then once I throw in new pots, fix up the neck, I think it'll be a decent guitar. So honestly, all right, would I buy this guitar again? Probably not. Probably buy a Squier. I think your money is better served buying a Squier, just because there's going to be less that you have to take care of in regards to upgrading and adjusting and fixing. All the little adjustments like adjusting for intonation and radiusing and saddle height and things of that nature. That's easy enough to do at home. Fixing the truss rod, which by the way worked great in this. It was up-bowed quite a bit too much for my taste. Just way too high of an action. So I knocked that down. But things like that, super easy to take care of yourself. The lowest end Squiers, at a similar price range, especially in the US, you might be better served. If you are in the United States and you're trying to buy one of these because you're like, oh, they're cheap, they're great, people review them great, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I would stick to your Squiers, because once you start tacking on the international fees and you're waiting 2 weeks or 3 weeks for it to pass customs and all that stuff in the US, I think it's not worth it. That being said, I look forward to playing around with this thing and making it polished. They say you can't polish a turd, but I'm going to try.